Do you lie online? Because if you do, I know how to find out. Hi, my name is Emily, and this is Blink Clap Shift. In June of 2010, Courtney Love took to Twitter saying, News Junkie, I was fucking devastated when Rhonda J. Holmes of San Diego was bought off by @Fair News Spears. Perhaps you can get a quote. The Rhonda Holmes mentioned in her tweet was Love's former lawyer. Their relationship apparently didn't end well. Holmes used that tweet to take Love to court, saying it was grounds for a defamation suit. The tweet's claim of bribery was the central stake in the case. And while the jury confirmed they believed that Courtney Love wrote the tweet, they also said the prosecution failed to prove that Love knew the statement was false. Prove with like evidence and stuff. Did Love lie? The jury said no. Also, it was deleted almost immediately after it was posted, so we all lie. We all know we all lie. But when those lies are said online, and especially when they have legal ramifications, white lies become big business. Holmes was suing for $8 million after all. So how we detect and gather evidence about lies online could have wide-ranging consequences. But for a little context, let's think about what would have happened if the statement had been made face-to-face. The burden of proof in a face-to-face lie is on recording. None of this he said, she said, unreliable eyewitness charade, but evidence for the lie. But when lying online, every character, email, and tweet can be saved forever, making proof, or at least records, easily procurable. So with all that evidence floating around, is it harder to go undetected when lying online? Nope, in fact, it is significantly easier. Now that Courtney Love has won the first Twitter libel case in history, here's what we know about lying online. When you are lying to someone's face, your desire for that lie to succeed activates something called the motivational impairment effect, when the liar's motivation negatively affects their performance, making the lie less convincing. The effect is usually seen when the liar's body gives off some clue. A nervous twitch, a darting eye movement, or a fidget that gives it all away. This means that face-to-face, the more eager you are to pull off a lie, the less likely you are to succeed. This relationship is called inversely proportional, and it is exactly the opposite of what is true online. The motivational enhancement effect, a term coined by Michael Woodworth, a forensic psychologist, and Jeff Hancock, a professor of communications and information science at Cornell University, describes how people motivated to lie in a computer-mediated environment are not only less likely to be detected, they are actually better at being deceptive than people who are less motivated. As long as you've got good motivation to lie, the internet is the place for you. So it's easier to lie online, but in recorded text, which leaves all that evidence behind, we are still lying least. Most of us have heard the statistic that we are averaging 2 lies a day, but you might be surprised where we're lying. According to the Oxford Handbook of Internet Psychology, which is a fascinating read, I highly recommend it, research showed that in 2007, 37% of lies were happening on the phone, 27% face-to-face, 21% over IM, and just 14% in email. You'll notice that synchronous text, IM, are more likely to elicit lies than asynchronous texts, email. But why? This is, according to the researchers, because most of our lies are unplanned. Our lies tend to be improvisations to smooth social tensions, not grand, pre-planned conspiracies. The study also showed that if you're lying to a boss or professor, you're probably doing it in email. But I think who you lie to and where says more about the social status of different means of digital communication than it does about how we lie. So how does one detect a liar? Using automated analysis of linguistic cues, researchers also showed that liars in text use more words, made fewer references to themselves, were more expressive, informal, and made more typos. The implications being that if the algorithms were paired with the right databases, detecting deception in text could be as easy as clicking a button. With text communication, as one researcher put it, we needn't worry about so much as a quiver in our voice or a tremor in our pinky when telling a lie. Text doesn't transmit nonverbal cues such as vocal properties, physical gestures, and facial expressions. And those deficiencies, which make it easier to lie, also hush subtle emotional cues that we use to determine how other people feel. How other people feel. Where might this disconnect from our mechanism of empathy really matter? Looking at our earlier numbers, a good candidate would be a technology that facilitates interactions that are both synchronous and recorded, where there is both improvisation and evidence. Take video conferencing. This near universally hated yet ubiquitous technology has many advantages over telephone calls, but still muddles the body language that we use for context. But would an Oculus Rift and some good body language tech close that gap? The negotiating and business applications of this are huge. Sure, we would also need to improve current latency, time between action and on-screen response. But Oculus is currently approaching the 100 millisecond sweet spot, after which, much like the pixel density on a retina screen, humans will be unable to distinguish a lag. And of course, that's action to screen, which doesn't include beaming the signal halfway around the planet to some international business partner, but hey, we're working on it. And much like we're developing algorithms to detect lies in IM and email, it's likely that with enough body language input data, software could learn to detect virtual reality face-to-face lies as well. But what do you think? Would you use a text analysis algorithm to detect if your friends are lying online? And will the integration of body language be the next killer app for virtual reality? Send me your thoughts. I'm at Emily Eifler. Thank you for watching and get curious.
Is the show really over?
Video Gato! Leia wants to be in the video, guys. Leia wants to be in the video too. This is Leia. She's very sad that she's in the video. You don't like being internet cat? This makes you internet cat.